If you save a rogue from the gallows, he will rob you that same night. Good one to remember. Like, oh, you want to help this person out. Doesn't necessarily, if they're a bad person, they don't care that they helped you out. Gotcha. They're gonna screw you over. If you swallow vice, 'twill rise badly in your stomach. Put that alcohol away. Put that donut away. It's gonna rise badly in your stomach. Gotcha. But you know, obviously it's a metaphor as well, right? Like, what are you doing? If you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, right, they're gonna rise badly.
Yeah, just to like indulge yourself in the moment. Kind of
but not even just just doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. Like gambling isn't gonna make you sick to your stomach, but boy, it's gonna rise. That's what they're saying there. Yeah. Ingratitude is the daughter of pride. Interesting one, right? Like people that can't say thank you because they think they deserve it.
Oh, yeah. That entitled son of
like, of course I got this. You know, you should be thanking me. Next one. It is ill to take an unlawful path, but worse to keep it. Boy, that is the truth right there.
Yep. You with Lee Bob, that was these were all cool sayings, right? We're talking about. And I remember so I learned these sayings. I kind of adjusted them and came up with, but though at the end of the day, this is what I tell my kids. So I say, do the right thing, do your best, and treat others like you want to be treated. But there's a little bit more to it. So it's do the right thing, do your best. Oh, sorry. Do the right thing even when you've done wrong.
Okay. Do
your best, not try your best, do your best. And then treat others like you want to be treated. So it's kind of like this. It's ill to take the unlawful path, but worse to keep it. So that's like, do the right thing even when you've done wrong. Because nobody's perfect, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, if you've done wrong, you still got it. You still are on the hook to do right at that point. Might look different now, but you still got to do the right thing. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the big one is with kids, especially, is like, don't lie.
Yeah. That's all complete good.
You're going to get in so much more trouble when you lie. And by the way, that carries through. Yeah. I've talked about this before. There was a case where in Iraq, I want to say it was like 2004, these soldiers shot and killed a guy and they planted a gun on him. And if you shoot an unarmed person, you have to, you report what happened. What did you see? Why did you take that shot? And there's legitimate reasons to take that shot. The person was charging at me, looked like they might have had a weapon, looked like they were maneuvering towards friendly forces. I thought he had an S-vest, like a suicide vest. Like there's a bunch of legitimate reasons. And if you state those reasons, hey, here's what I saw. I was in this position. I entered this building. The guy was standing there. He started to move towards me. I thought he had a cell phone. He had this. It's like there's legitimate reasons where you took a shot at a person that was unarmed. And when you report that up the chain of command, they say, okay, well, what did you learn from it? How do we make sure we can train other people to make sure this doesn't happen again? What is the, what's the reaction that the person had that, how can we train people that so there's a bunch of things that will come from it. Yeah. But you're not going to prison.
Yeah.
When you plant a gun on someone, you're going to prison. And that's exactly what happened in this case. And the reason I remember this well is because this is when I was the admiral's aide in 2004 to 2005. I would see these cases happening and we'd hear about them. And so it was like, oh yeah, like if you take an unlawful path, don't stay on it. Get off of it. And that's the right thing to do. So
do the right thing even when you've done wrong. And technically in those situations, it's technically not even really wrong. The old, what is it? Good move, bad result or whatever.
Good shoot, bad result.
Yeah. That feels slightly. You said something, and I don't even know if you meant this as like this massive freaking groundbreaking point, but it really landed on me. Maybe it was like at the time or something, but nonetheless, it's freaking stuck as like a thing. Going forward. And you said, where do you want to end up? And then I was like, I remember thinking, bro, that freaking applies to so much, long term and short term, by the way. Like, so if you're like, I don't know, you just have bad habits, or you're doing something kind of wrong, but it's not that wrong, but it kind of maybe is kind of wrong, you know, like that kind of stuff. And then, but you really just ask yourself, like, consciously, okay, like, cool, you're doing this, you're gambling, or you're whatever, or I mean, these are obvious things, but it applies to everything, by the way. It's like, where do you want to end up with this course of action? Like, where do you want to end up?
With all these courses of action, by the way.
Yeah.
With every decision that you're making.
Yeah. And good or bad, by the way.
Yeah.
So the end up is like, the bad one is the real obvious one, the one that you're like, oh, yeah, like freaking, basically, it's hard to really come up with like a good answer. I mean, like a positive like result where you want to end up if you're doing something bad. So it's like, even let's say you're drinking, right? Common thing, right? We're drinking or whatever, and you know, maybe it's not ruining your life, but it's like kind of just getting kind of in the way. Usually that's that gray area that drinking continues usually. So if you really ask yourself, where do I want to end up with this thing? You could justify it and be like, well, I'm going to quit at some point. Okay, cool. There you go. Perfect. Quit then. Because the more you don't quit, you haven't quit straight up. And you still got to ask you where you're going to end up. And you're going to end up somewhere bad. There's no good place to end up, you know? So it's like one of those things when you really ask yourself that, it's like, oh, bro, it's kind of a good little prescriptive
mantra.
Scenario. Yeah. 100.
Yeah, there's a book called To What End, written by Ward Just about the Vietnam, and it's early in Vietnam, but it's a great question to ask. Like, to what end? It's like, so what are we trying to make happen? Yeah. Because that's what, in the Vietnam War, no one in senior leadership was saying, to what end are we doing? Like, what is the end game? When do we say, okay, yep, victory declared, we can leave now? We didn't have a plan like that. We had all this nebulous stuff. And so we do that in our life where we're just going down the path, but to what end are you doing this? Yeah. Like, you're going to have some drinks tonight, some alcoholic beverages tonight. To what end? Like, same question, right?
Yeah.
Where do you want to end up? Like, oh, do you want to end up healthy? Do you want to end up wealthy? Do you want to end up wise? Healthy and wealthy and wise. Remember those things? Yes, tell me in what world alcohol helps with any of those in any way, shape, or form. The answer is it doesn't. So again, we're picking on alcohol, but it applies to everything. What do to what end are you doing this? So you're going out and you're buying a new freaking Cadillac, right? That you can't really afford. Well, to what end? You trying to look cool? Well, why are you trying to look cool? And you ask yourself that question enough times, you're going to realize it's going to really improve your decision-making process if you try and figure out where you're ultimately trying to go. So, yes, concur.
It hit me hard on this idea of the slippery slope scenario, which what you said right there is even more. That's even more like advanced. Like, really, I'm planning, or should I say, like, what do you call constructing my life? You know, so I can engineer success, kind of a thing. And it feels like, yeah, that's like some that's advanced tactics right there. Not necessarily advanced, but those are some like higher level tactics just to avoid the pitfalls in life that are normal, by the way. If you ask yourself that, like, where are you going to end up? That, like, as it applies to like the slippery slope scenario, because that's what gets us. Like, even just something like as seemingly benign as like not working out as much. You know, when you get family and kids, so I don't work out as much, all the way down to like, I don't work out anymore. That's a slippery slope. You don't just have a kid and be like, oh, well, I don't have to work out at all anymore ever. You know, that usually doesn't happen like that. It's usually like, okay, I'm going to keep working out. It's like, oh, I don't have time. I'm a little bit tired today because of the kid, and it slowly happens. But if you recognize it, you know, and ask yourself that, like, hey, where am I going to end up?
That is something that I think about a lot, is like right down to a repetition of exercise. Yeah. I feel like that repetition counts in the big picture. Yeah, it counts in the big picture.